Hi, I'm Dr. Tom Heiskell.
Hi, Mike Thompson. Here. We got our cameos out of the way there.
Yeah, we did.
So, welcome to Pawsitive Partners, a friendly dog training show. And today we're going to be talking about making going to the vet
Work.
and maybe some other things less stressful.
Yep, yeah. Okay, and we'll use our little schnauzer friend here to demonstrate body handling. All right, here's some interesting things that a vet behaviorist has put out there. 38% of dogs hate going to the vet. About 20% of owners would visit the vet more often if their dog wasn't so stressed. It's even worse for cats. Stress makes all responses, more dramatic, more escalated for the animal and the owner.
And the animal can pick up, and really does pick up, your stress level.
Right.
Because, that whole morning you're going to go to the vet.
Good point.
You're going, oh my God, I got to take the dog to the vet, and he's going to act like an idiot in the car, and all the stuff you've already pre-thought of, and it's already going on in your head.
Go off the cliff, yeah.
The
and
animals
that's why you
can
want to
feel
do
that.
some of this practice. They can feel it because they're social. They're reading us.
And I think they can read your mind. I did an experiment walking my dogs, and there was a dog barking at me behind a fence. And so, it might sound weird, but I imagined in my head just tearing it apart. And the dog went nuts. He thought I was the worst person in the world. Okay, next time I went back past the house, I imagined in my head petting him, loving and holding him, being nice and stuff. And the dog was more mellow. He barked a little bit, but not nearly the way he did the first time when I imagined in my head just tearing him apart like a predator.
Yeah.
So I think they, can sense and read your mind almost. I know when I'm sitting at dinner, if I cut off a piece of stuff, I haven't said anything. And I think, okay, this one's going to Ulrich, one of the dogs. He'll perk his ears
He already
up.
seems to have tuned in on that.
And he's the only one who will perk up. Because I've already said it in my head, and he knows.
Yeah. Interesting on that point. I talked. These were traditional trainers. They trained police animals, and it was at a conference where we were training our dogs to scent detect bed bugs of all things. But anyway, this guy said you would be amazed how much your dog will do if you just think sit. Just think it and see what happens.
Yeah, visualize it.
Yeah.
You want to visualize what you want them to do in your head.
Yeah.
And they can see it. Act like what your dog is seeing is what's playing in your head. And that will go a long way.
Yeah, and we'll talk about that. There's a guy, I went to an energy psychology conference, and this is the, we're not in Kansas anymore kind of world. Anyway, one of the guys would say, well, he did this kind of practice, this energy psychology practice. Anyway, he would visualize his dogs coming home, and he would say that was amazing how that worked. So there's that level of things. The other level that we can talk about is the is the body language level, and when we visualize what we want, our bodies are communicating that, and animals are the absolute masters of reading extremely subtle body language. That's what they do with other animals, and they read it in a blink of an eye.
You don't realize you're doing it. It's just like these, what do they call them,
micro-expressions?
Micro-expressions. They see that.
They do, just totally.
And it takes years for us of training to figure that out.
Yeah. With dogs, what we're supposed to do is listen with our eyes.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. And so as we're going to the vets with our animals, we want to have done a run-through so we're comfortable. So our manner is communicating to our animals that, hey, this is all right, this is going to work out just fine here. And so some of the visits to the vet, we want to have some practice visits where nothing really, if we excuse me, have that luxury. Nothing really is going on. It's just a good visit, and they feel good, we feel good. They get familiar with the staff and the smells and the surroundings and all that sort of thing. Now with our and it also makes it so much easier on the vets.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, because they're walking into a room with a dog that they don't know.
Yeah.
Is this a mean one that's going to bite my hand off if I touch him in the wrong place? Or
yeah. So the more comfortable the owner is, the more comfortable the animal is, the easier the vet's visit's going to be, the more you're going to get out of it, and it works for everybody all around.
Nail clippings.
Nail clippings, yeah, that too. Yeah, we'll do a video on that because anyway, I'm going to have to. I've walked my dog enough that I've never actually had to clip his nails. It'll be a good video to start with. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've actually started doing some of that with a little filing board, but that's inefficient with him. But he would offer his paw, which is a part of body handling here. If you got a puppy, and you have up to about 12 weeks where they're getting used to what is. Oh yeah, there's my.
Yeah.
Camera there. That shouldn't be complex, should it? How many times? Look in that camera. Hello.
Now the middle one.
Now the middle one? No, come on, don't do that to me. I'm not going to keep track. There needs to be a red light. Anyway, so a dog's social learning phase for what's normal in their life is up to about 12, 13, 14 weeks. And during that time, whatever they experience, if it goes well, that sets the stage for the rest of their lives. It falls in the category of this is okay, no big deal. Kittens.
Or this is fearful.
Or this is fearful. You can set that pattern as well.
Right.
Yeah. And so you want the first kittens, it's up to 7-9 weeks. So you want the first few visits are going to shape how the pet views the veterinary clinic, how the pet views all kinds of things in its life. The groomers, how it views bathing, how it views having its body handled and all that. You want the pet comfortable. You want to take it to the vet so that it's used to doing the kinds of things there that it's going to do later on when there's an actual exam going on.
Treats in the pocket always help, I
Treats,
think.
yeah. And it helps to have whatever the extra special treats are, those come out at the vet's office or any place that really is more challenging for the animal. Okay. Now, when you're let's talk a little bit about a good practice visit to the vet. Vet offices, you can just ask them, do they mind if you bring your pup by at some time when they're not busy, and you take them in and you have them in there.
Just have them weighed or something.
Just have them weighed. Something doesn't amount to anything.
Right.
And keep it. Usually, if they're a puppy, you'll probably be keeping them on your lap or keeping them in a crate, because until they've had a couple of their parvo shots and so forth, they could get parvo. So you probably don't want them, all
just
over the
floor
unless.
The floor.
Yeah, right. And you ask the vet if they feel like it's a safe floor surface for them.
Right.
But, anyway, so you go through that sort of thing. They meet. Usually one of the vet staff would be happy to come in and say hi to your puppy and all that sort of stuff and give it a treat and pet it, and so then you leave, and so you've done a couple things. You've associated the car ride with something good, being in the vet's office with something good. The pet maybe gets to hear and see some other animals and smell the alcohol smell and all the other stuff, and the sort of the scared animal smell that's there.
Right.
And, all that sort of thing.
I have multiple dogs, and so I'll take one or two with me. If one of the guys are being seen, I'll take one or two of the other dudes with me, and then they just get to watch, and this one gets to be seen. So it's not a big deal. And if I've got a little bit of a question, she can just feel around on them, and it only costs me one visit.
Oh, that's a good deal. Your vet likes your dogs too.
Yeah.
All right. And so the more you can show that you have good control over your dog, the more authority, the more influence you're going to have when it comes to guiding how your pet is handled there. I know with my dog, in a rescue for 2 whole years, and
Wow.
so he's he's okay. He tolerates being examined, but it's probably better that I pull his teeth back, and so I've demonstrated when I take him in there, I have him go from the chair, and he actually gets up on the exam table, and I've put a little mat out there so he has safe footing on the exam table, and I ask him to sit and all that sort of stuff, and the vet can see that I have behavioral control over him. So if the vet says, well, let's see his teeth, I say, well, I'll go ahead and do that, and I lift his gums up and all that.
And know
sort
your
of thing.
dog too, because
Yeah.
I've heard from my vet, somebody will come in with a little dog and it's like, oh, he's nice, he's fine, and then they start handling him, he turns around and tries to nip him.
Tell your vet the truth.
Right.
Don't lie to them. yeah, they don't like. Nobody likes that.
They want to be more cautious so they don't get bit. So
Yeah. Let's talk about body handling. So when you have a puppy or if you've gotten a new dog, you want to get them at the vet's office. They're going to be subjected to all kinds of things. For one thing, they will be restrained. They'll be held closely where they won't be able to move. You get them used to that at home.
And dogs don't like to be hugged, so
They don't like that, so you're asking them to tolerate that.
Right.
Get them used to you handling their ears, and watch their body language and see if they're communicating that they're okay with that, or if they're starting to get freaked out with it. If you touch their ears and you mess around with their ears for like 2 seconds and that's too much, well then just do 1 second touch, or just touch and go and take it away, and then rub their chest or pet them or give them a treat. So you want all those associations with body handling to be good. Dogs oftentimes don't like their feet held or looked at, immobilized. Well, if you're
That's
an
one
animal,
thing my guys really don't like. You touch them, they just jerk.
Yeah,
Not that they don't like it too much, but they do just jerk.
Yeah. It's uncomfortable and makes them anxious.
Right. They're
and
sensitive
about it.
Right.
So then you retract their gums to expose their teeth. There, it might look in their eye, which is an uncomfortable thing, not normal.
Because one of these days you might have to put little eye drops in.
Right. Yeah. So all the kinds of things, the vet's probably going to squeeze their belly. So you want to get the dog used to all that sort of stuff. The vet's going to look at the dog's genital area and backside. So you can't be politically correct about where you touch the dog when you're getting the dog used to how it's going to be examined at the vet's office.
And a good time to do it that's not weird is like bath time.
Bath time, that's a great idea.
Because you're going to have to wash everything, and don't be afraid to do it.
Right. Yeah.
And then, the vet may have to express their anal glands. But I'm not saying go there.
Yeah.
But,
just get the dog used to being touched all over.
Right. Or they'll have to take their temperature.
Yeah, good point. It's good to practice that, like you say, in the bath. And if you've got a table or something like that, the more you can practice that kind of stuff in the same situation that the dog's going to be in, the better. So that would be like a raised surface, which is what they're going to be on.
If it's not a big dog, my 120-pound guys don't go on the table.
Okay, all right.
She comes to the floor.
Okay, all right. Yeah, he's 70 pounds, and
He still go on top.
I could lift him up there, but he gets onto a chair and then he goes up. So, vets are sometimes taught that you have a slick surface so that they have more control over the dog. The dog doesn't have footing.
They can't fight back, so they can push and they're not doing anything.
Yeah. But mine is.
And it's easier to clean, I'm sure.
Yeah. But mine's more secure if he has something that gives him some footing.
Right.
And so. Ask your vet about it. And,
if you want to bring that, don't expect them to furnish it.
Yeah, don't expect them to furnish it. Roll it up, take it home, wash it when you get it home, that kind of thing. Okay, so let's talk about some things that you can have your dog do at the vet's office, because it's sitting there. It doesn't know what's going on, and so you want to give it something to do. One thing you can teach a dog to do is to rest its chin in your hand. So when you just put your hand there and the dog rests its chin, you give it a little marker, a little, yeah, thumbs up signal, yep. And then, you know, give it a little treat there, or a little scratch under the chest, something to indicate doing that. And the dog learns to relax in that position. You get that relaxed association going. You can ask the dog to give you a touch, and that's just simply holding your hand out. Dogs will naturally be curious about anything you stick in front of the nose. They're going to smell it, so you know they're going to do that, and you say, yep, and then you give the dog a treat. And the dog learns that, so then you associate, you know the dog's going to do that, so then you say touch, the dog touches, yep, here's a treat, good boy, you know. And so when the dog's uncertain about what to do, and maybe the vet's going to give the dog a shot, you know, before that happens, you say touch, good boy, scratch, scratch, scratch. Usually dogs don't even feel shots, it appears.
Now, one thing that I do when they're going to do something like give them a shot, you know, with my big guys, I've got Bernese Mountain Dogs. I'll, you know, grab a hold of his collar, and then I'll just scratch him around his neck or on the side of his body or something a little harder, so that this is more stimulating than the other thing that they're getting. Right, so they don't pay attention to that, they're paying attention to me.
And back to your point originally about the dog's going to pick up on your manner. If when you're scratching them on the chest or scratching them on their shoulder, if they can feel that your fingers and your arm and your whole manner is relaxed and comfortable, that's the emotion they're going to pick up on.
Right, and not you grab them going, oh my God.
Yeah, right. If they're feeling, oh my God, and you're completely uptight, they're going to go, oh, this is not good, is it?
Right. What are you oh my Godding about?
Right, exactly. So your manner and your visualization that this is going to work out fine is real important. So you want to visualize success. You want to go there and practice those behaviors so that when you go in the vet's office, you're feeling as comfortable as you can feel. Another behavior you can ask your dog to practice is settle on a mat. So the dog lies down, and let's say this is its little mat, and it's settled there, and it's relaxed, and it knows what you're asking it to do instead of going, you know, what am I supposed to do and what's happening now?
Another thing that brings up body position, and sometimes it might come in handy. One of my guys is a little shy and a little reserved, so he's not so good at it. But as a puppy, you want to turn them on their back, rub their belly, and you know, get them comfortable enough so that they can be on their side or their back and still be secure.
Right. Yeah.
If they have a problem with that, then there may be a time when the vet wants to do something like that, and then they can't.
Right. Yeah. So as much as you can, just whatever the dog is, take it slow. If the dog is reacting, then back it up a step or two to the point that the dog is successful, and then move ahead.
Continue with reassurance.
Continue with reassurance and slow, steady progress. Okay. One thing you can tell is if you have an older dog and you're at the vet and the dog isn't doing something that it knows how to do, the dog's pretty worried. If the dog's not taking treats, the dog's pretty worried. So you want to back up what's going on and give the dog more guidance and so forth.
And as much as you do this, if a dog is not feeling well, I mean,
good point.
Really not feeling well, you're going to have to restrain them and do some, you know, things that may be over the top. This is not going to work for all those situations.
Good point.
If they got hit by a car, or something, they're not going to want you messing around with stuff.
And on that point, this is a good reason why you practice the dog wearing a muzzle, and so the dog learns, like we did with the talk last time.
Right, we covered that last
time. The dog treats the muzzle as a little treat machine. So you put the muzzle out there, the dog says, oh yeah, I know what to do with that. I stick my nose in there. And then the dog's got its nose in the muzzle, and you know, then the dog's used to you putting the back strap of the muzzle around its neck, and then it's used to you clipping the muzzle, and it's used to keeping it on. And as long as the muzzle's not rubbing or anything like that, and you've got one of these Italian basket muzzles, allows them to breathe, pant, take treats, and get water, it's no big deal. They don't care. It's not a fashion statement to them. It's not a, does this muzzle make my behind look fat or anything like
Right.
that, problem. So they're good with that. It's us that has a problem with how we feel about muscles.
Right.
So you want to, when you take the dog into the vet, you want to give the vet staff some treats. And if the dog is not
They're not supposed to
accepting,
eat the treats. They're supposed to treat the dog.
huh? Oh, there, yeah.
You said give the staff treats.
Give the staff treats. That's probably a good idea too.
Hey, they would enjoy that.
It's like
Bring them some.
M&M.
Bring them some donuts.
yeah,
They'll like
right,
it.
right. Not a bad idea. So anyway, if the dog is accepting treats from you but not accepting treats from the staff, that's an indication probably the dog is not feeling comfortable and trusting of that staff. So you might want to be providing more safety for the staff at that point.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So what you can take in terms of treats there are things called lick sticks. It's just like a roll-on deodorant, but it has some tasty stuff, so the dog licks it and the roller goes around and it picks up more tasty
I haven't seen that.
stuff. Yeah, it had to be on Amazon. Okay, so you want to get the dog used to riding in the car. You want to get it used to getting walking in and out of the vets and all that sort of stuff, getting on the scales. You can ask the dog to volunteer to get up on the scales, just point to the scales and the dog looks at it, yes, good. Pat the scales, the dog gets up, there we go, here's a treat, here's a scratch.
Yeah, I usually
something
lead
like
them
that.
by their nose with a treat. Say, okay,
Yeah.
come over here, now sit. And then they sit. And it's like, okay, we're waiting for the little thing to register.
Uh-huh.
Okay, good boy.
Yeah, then you've got the duration of the sit that you need to
Right.
get the weight registered. And that'll give the vet's office a reassurance that you've been working with your animal. Okay, now with mine, he's very, very alert to what's changing. And so while we were if you've got a dog that is uncomfortable with going to the vet's office, then you can wait in your car. Everybody's got a cell phone, and you can have them, you call them or them call you
Yeah.
when it's time to head in, and you avoid that uncomfortable 5
Or
or
if
10
they're not
minutes.
good around other animals.
Yeah, keep them out there. If you've got a puppy, you might want to have them potty or avoid some location other than right at the door or the immediate entrance, because that way you're keeping their feet off of the locations where other dogs with illnesses might be before your dog has gotten its
And I like to visit too at the vet.
Immunity,
We just
yep,
went to black. Yeah, there we go. Don't let your dog visit with the other dogs until you have asked the owner,
yeah.
is he okay? Is he friendly to other dogs?
Yeah.
And then just keep the leash tight so it won't, he can't lunge if there's any question.
Yeah, it's probably
visiting with the
better
other
to
ones.
not have any visits
Yeah.
in the vet's office. I mean, if you've got a very friendly animal and someone else, but the only acceptable animal is the only acceptable response from another owner is that their dog is totally friendly,
Right.
not just pretty good.
Right.
Totally friendly, never been a problem, loves all dogs, all sizes, all that
Right.
sort of stuff. And if they say, well, I think he's all
Well,
right.
he's
yeah,
okay with 90% of dogs.
Yeah, right. Yeah, right. Yeah. Just err on the safe side.
Right.
And greetings on leash and that sort of stuff, if they've got a tight leash,
Sends a message.
it sends a message, right? If you do a greeting, what are you really getting out of it? It gives your dog something to do. Probably what you want to do is, if that works, have the greeting be really quick. 1,000, 1,000, good dog, come on back here, and then you have your dog
Come here and
doing
sit
other
with
stuff.
me.
Come here and sit with me. Okay, and with my dog, when we were there, we had to be in the exam room waiting, I don't know, it was 5 minutes, 5
Right.
minutes, 10 minutes, something like that. 3 minutes, good. And so what I did was had him up on the exam table, and I had him doing some behaviors so he's not just bored out of his mind and getting more uptight. But what I went over to do is the door from which the vet would come in was closed. So I went over there and opened the door and shut it. Or I opened the door and it said yes, went back, and pets, and this, that, and the other, and here's a treat, this, that, and the other. So what I did was broke that part of what he would react to out of the equation. So the next time when the door opened, he goes, hey, it's opened like 10 times here, and nothing bad happened,
Right. Because part of the show is dealing with rescues and
Sure.
keeping them out of shelters, or if you've rescued one from a shelter, then you haven't socialized them.
Yeah.
So now you're possibly, most dogs are pretty decent, but there are some you get that are damaged,
Right,
emotionally or whatever, and part of this is dealing with
those dogs.
Right.
Right. Yeah, that's a really good point. So observe your dog's body language. If you're not in an emergency situation and it's not working out, then step back and say, okay, let's think this through here, and let's maybe take care of this another time. And it's worth it to establish a good pattern with the vet, instead of getting into something where they have got to get physical with the dog reacts back, and the situation escalates, and then you have got an even worse problem the next time than you would have had if you said, okay, let's hold it for here, and let's take this the next visit. And
okay, I think we
that's
got about a
good.
minute left.
Yeah.
If you want to contact Tom, here's his info down here for dog training. What kind of stuff do you do?
Foundation training with dogs, and I could show you the picture of the fish that I'm training to do weave poles. I began that.
Really?
Yeah, this morning. Yeah, and he already swims through a hoop,
Hmm.
and that kind of thing. And so you can.
It's interesting.
The kind of training that I do is a training that came from dolphin training, and before that came from laboratory training with rats and other animals.
Oh, just the
and,
conditioning kind of deal.
Conditioning kind of stuff, yeah. Operant conditioning and classical associations, and you can basically get an animal to do anything that it's physically and mentally capable of doing. I've taught my dog to. No, I don't know. If he's, 25 feet away from me and I ask him for a sit or down or stand or something like that, he can offer that. So you just do that in a little step-by-step way, and the dog enjoys it, and so it's a lot of fun. And this is the kind of training that's done now with seeing eye dogs, and they train in this building block reward-based manner because it works. Gets them more successful dogs quicker.
Okay. Well, here's wishing you good vet visits and a happy life with your dog. And thanks for watching Pawsitive Partners.
Thank
See
you.
you next month.
All right.